When I was severely depressed and suicidal and having panic attacks all the time and hopeless beyond measure and depersonalized, there was one lie that resonated inside of me over and over and over again. And here's what that lie was. I had nothing to do with what was going on with me. My condition, my place in life, my situation was out of my control completely, and that I was a victim. And I believed this lie. And I fed this lie to myself a lot. And what that allowed me to do was take no responsibility over what had happened and over my potential recovery. It allowed me to be a victim, and it allowed me to sit, wallow, and melt in my suffering. And I was suffering. The pain was real, the condition was real, but the circumstances that led me there were a little bit hazy to me. And I was hurting. And I was scared, and I was unfamiliar with my place, and it made things worse. And when I work with people on this platform and in my immediate community who are not doing well, who are depressed, who are suicidal, treatment resistant like I was, stuff like that, a common theme that I feel is there and existing with a lot of the people, men and women, who can't get better, are struggling to get better, is this inability to take responsibility for what happened to them. Some people have been through some horrible shit, and so this is not a video to tell you to toughen up or buck up. It's not a video to say that something hasn't happened to you that's bad, or that someone didn't do something terrible to you. We all have our reasons, but it is a video to empower you to take some responsibility over where you're at and why you're there. Most of you understand what I'm saying, and let me just tell you my experience. Let me tell you my experience. I had a rare reaction to a medication called Vivitrol that was supposed to help me with my alcoholism. But I had a rare reaction, and it spiraled me into panic attacks, suicidal ideations, depression, weight loss, insomnia, horrifying shit. And so when I took that medication, that intramuscular shot, and I had that rare reaction, something was done to me. And I was a victim from that very moment, and I stayed in that victim role. How could this happen to me? I never took ownership over the reason I was even taking that shot. The common theme for all of us is that once we get there, we either have to do something about it, or we have to sit in it and mourn the loss of our mental stability. And I mourn the loss of my mental stability. I mourn the loss of my old life. And I wallowed, and I felt like a victim, and it made things worse. Whatever circumstance got you there, it's going to take you to get you out of it. And if you get lost in that mindset that you can't take any control and you can't affect change, it'll make it that much harder to get out, and it'll make it that much more hopeless of a situation. So what it looked like for me was admitting a few things to myself. Most people aren't depressed or anxious by accident. They really aren't. Some people, there will be people who have great lives on the surface, but maybe for whatever reason they end up depressed and they don't know why. And that does happen. Even those people have to take ownership over the fact that it has happened, and that they're going to have to do something about it. And that it's not just going to go away just because it came on so randomly. But for me, I'm an alcoholic, and I was struggling to stay sober. I had gone to rehab just before I had my breakdown, and I was battling back and forth with that part of my life. And it was a very sad, morose part of my life. But the only reason I took that Vivitrol shot, and it took me a long time to admit this, the only reason I took that shot was because I kept relapsing. So I wanted to put all the blame of my depression and my condition on that shot. That shot did it to me. I didn't do anything to me. I had nothing to do with this. I'm a victim. I'm a fucking victim. Look what it did to me. And when I changed my tune, when I changed that mindset from look what it did to me, but look what happened to me, look where I ended up, more like impartial, it happened. It was rare, it was an accident, but it happened, and I had something to do with it. When I took ownership over that, that was like the first biggest step I ever had towards getting better, because I would lay in bed and cry and pray for my death and be suicidal, and I felt truly hopeless, and I felt there was nothing I could do. But until I could admit that part of the reason I was there was me, and the only person that was going to get me out was me, I wasn't going to get better, or at least not in any time frame that I thought meant I could survive. I was depending on someone else to do it for me. And it was hard to accept and understand that nobody was going to fight for me like I was going to have to fight for me to get better. I had people that were going to try and that were going to support me, but no one was going to be able to fix me. And until I got out of the mindset that I was just a victim, nothing more, then there was never going to be a chance that I could do the right things to affect change, be them small or big. So if you are feeling like a victim, and some of you have been through some horrific things, so this is not me telling you, get over it, toughen up, buck up, whatever. I'm not telling you that. That shit doesn't mean anything. That doesn't work. But what I am telling you to do is, if you can find something inside of you that can claim what's happened to you and take ownership of it, even if you feel it was totally undeserving and not your fault, but if you can take ownership of the fact that it's there now, I promise you, it'll help give you the strength to start crawling out. When you're in a deep, deep, deep hole of depression, anxiety, and depersonalization, you can't see the light. You really can't. But you'll have people and things and places implying and trying to give you help and get you to believe the idea that if you just crawl a little bit each day, that maybe you'll get out of that hole. Maybe the light you can't see will slowly become this little teeny flicker. And it starts within you, and it starts with the idea that you are not a victim anymore, and that being a victim, you won't be able to heal that way. So mourn the loss of your stability, mourn the loss of your old life if you have to, but then come to terms with your depression. Don't let it define who you are, and don't let it be something that is so big and so horrible and so terrible that means you're not there anymore to fight. That thought was scattered. I have a lot of people out there suffering and hurting that are reaching out to me that have not come to terms with what's happened, and they haven't come to terms that they may have had something to do with it. And you can't keep doing what you were doing to get better. You got to try something new, and you have to think about it differently. And it's hard. And you have to lean on the people that know better, and you have to realize that no matter what has happened to you, you can do something about it. You really can. You really can. I had something to do with me getting sick, and you can bet your ass that I had to have something to do with me getting better, and that's all I'm trying to tell you. Empower yourself. You're stronger than you think. I'm not attacking you, by the way, if you're not doing well, and I do understand that misery and that wallow. I was there for a long time, but getting out of depression is hard work, and you have a lot of work to do. Getting out of anxiety, depersonalization, is hard work, and that's just the fact. And so you need to gear up and start taking little steps and believing that you can get out of this. You can do it. And you're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to work really, really hard. And you're going to have to accept that you have become depressed or anxious or depersonalized, and that's your life now. It doesn't have to be your life forever. That sounds like a rant. I hope that didn't sound too preachy. I promise it came from a good place inside of me. Look, if I can get over my depression, my anxiety that lasted well over a year, treatment resistant, so can you. Just find it in your heart to take ownership of it. Own it. That's your depression. Own it. It's your anxiety. Own it. That's your depersonalization. You're suicidal. It is yours. It's yours. No, it's not someone else's. It's happening to you. It's happening to you, and you're going to have to beat it. And you'll have people to help you if you reach out for help. But only you can get yourself out. Only you can care for yourself like no one else can care. That's all I'm trying to say. I hope you found something in there that was useful. I felt a little more scattered than I meant to, but that was just on my heart, and I needed to verbalize it and try to get it out. You're not a victim. Not anymore. Bad things may have happened to you. Horrible, horrible things may have happened to you. People may have wronged you. Life may have given you a bad deck of cards, but you're not a victim anymore. You're a fighter. You're a survivor. And you're going to have to do whatever it takes. And when you get to the other side and you look back, you won't care that it was so hard, because you will have gotten out of it and you will have seen life in a whole new way, I promise. Just be as brave as you can. It sounds corny, but it's my truth. We'll do another video soon, guys. Take care.